Chapter 25. Away. Rockland, Indiana, 1998. Rusty shakes in a mixture of fear, anger, and frustration. Yamura stands before him, at 25% of the strength he had before, yet still beyond the young warrior's ability to withstand. I can't land a single punch on him. What can I do? Rusty wonders, trying to control his emotions and hide his growing fear. I give you one chance to flee. It will only be temporary, of course, but I extend it to you as a courtesy for your ancestor. Amy grabs Rusty's arm and pulls. Come on, let's go. To run right now would go against everything that I feel is right in my heart. I've been led to this moment, and I have to finish this. I owe it to Jake, Rusty says. Rusty ducks beneath a back fist, but Yamura quickly adapts and counters with an uppercut to the solar plexus with his other arm. Rusty staggers back, gasping for air. Yamura grins, striking the team with a double-fisted smash to the back. You have been in over your head from the very start, Yamura gloats. With 100 years of experience, you would still be lacking against me. Rusty forces himself back up to his feet. You talk too much, the team coughs. Shut up and fight. Yamura blitzes Rusty with a flurry of hard punches. The teen is hammered, his head batted around like a punching bag. Yamura finishes with a burst of black energy that hits Rusty in the chest with the force equivalent of over a dozen punches and sends the teen crashing back through a wall. Rusty slowly crawls to his feet, struggling to stand up straight. His entire body is aflame with pain, and he's covered from top to bottom in scratches and cuts. Yamura materializes in Rusty's face, punching him in the jaw. The blow rocks him back, and Yamura delivers several more from multiple angles. A final hook punch knocks Rusty back down to his back. The boy moans, struggling to move at all, let alone stand back up. Get up, or stay down. Either way, you're wasting my time. Rusty finally crawls to his feet, and Yamura instantly hits him in the chest with an open palm. Rusty slams against the wall, sending a crack up to the ceiling. Beg for your life, and I will make your end swift. Yamura holds his hands out in front of him. An orb of swirling black energy begins to collect. Amy, run! Rusty shouts. Run all you like. I shall hunt you down wherever you go. Rusty cannot move. His body has taken too much damage. The teen's will is strong, but his body refuses to cooperate. It's over. I've failed everyone, Rusty thinks in defeat. Stand up. You possess more strength than that monster could ever steal. Swallow your fears. Do not let them rule you. Push those fears to the back of your mind and focus on what is most important to you, a voice urges the teen in the back of his head. A faint light hovers in front of Rusty, unseen by anyone else. Rusty sways in place, his stubbornness the only thing keeping him on his feet. If faced with even a modest breeze, the teen would be knocked down. He squints, fatigue blurring his vision. Rusty can barely make out any of Yamura's features. His body is nothing more than a blur. It's painful to keep his eyes open, and he shuts them for relief. I almost feel bad at this point, Yamura says, seeing the pitiful state of his opponent. The challenge for me is over. You gain nothing putting yourself through more pain. Likewise, I gain nothing by dragging this out. I have already won. Just submit and die peacefully. You have nothing to regret. You fought admirably, and will die like a true warrior. You have done your ancestors proud. Who are you? Rusty asks the voice in his head, ignoring Yamura. What is most important to you? My family and my friends, Rusty says without hesitation. Could you allow Yamura to hurt them? Rusty opens his eyes as a blue glow surrounds his body. In his still blurred vision, Rusty begins to see a faint red glow appear from Yamura's core and flow out into his left hand, illuminating the air around it. Just as Yamura throws his hand out to attack, Rusty sidesteps. A burst of energy explodes against the wall behind the teen. How did you dodge that? Yamura growls, eyeing Rusty suspiciously. It was almost as if your body anticipated my attack. But that is absurd. And now, dear Enkidu, I pray that you are able to forgive me. I have done all I can to help your descendant. He must finish this on his own. Yasion whispers as his spirit fades. Yamura attacks Rusty again and again, each time the teen dodging the blasts. The Sakari grows increasingly more agitated, moving in close to finish the battle with his fists. Rusty isn't sure how, but he's able to guess Yamura's movements just before he strikes. Yamura is unable to land a clean hit, becoming frustrated and enraged. Rusty's eyes track the movement of Yamura's energy, and his body reacts accordingly, almost as if on autopilot. The teen is unable to counterattack, but he grows more confident in his ability to follow Yamura's movements. Finally, he manages to grab Yamura's wrist after dodging one of his punches. Yamura's eyes widen in surprise, and he is momentarily stunned. Rusty seizes the opening, decking the Sakari in the face. Yamura skids back several feet, and wipes the blood off his lips with the back of his hand. How can you be growing stronger this late in our battle? Yamura asks, confused. You were near death. Tell me, how were you able to fight back? Something Jake tried to teach me just sort of finally clicked. I guess I have your beatdown to thank for that. You pushed me past my limits, and forced my body to respond like never before. Rusty forms a grin, enough of his stamina recovered for him to lower into a fighting stance. Seeing his opponent's brash challenge, Yamura screams in rage. His aura flares out in all directions. Jake Stewart is gone forever. Nothing he could have taught you will be of use. He could not defeat me, so what chance do you honestly have? Once you and your family are dead, I will kill everyone in this city, so the names Jake Stewart and Rusty Rigsby will be erased from history. Not a soul will live that will have memories of either of you. It will be as if you never existed. Memories aren't that easy to erase, Yamura, Rusty growls. Just like the bonds of the people that created them. I will shatter those bonds and eradicate every trace of memory of either of you in this world and the next. Yamura screams, throwing both arms forward and releasing all of his energy into a massive wave. Rusty catches the energy in his hands. His own energy begins to synchronize, surrounding his body with a protective aura skin. Instinctively, Rusty's energy matches Yamura's in wave and intensity, allowing him to hold it at bay without being consumed. With a single scream, Rusty throws his hands to the side and pushes the energy into the floor beside him. The ensuing blast propels Rusty forwards, and the boy delivers a right hook with all of his might. Blood and saliva spray from Yamura's mouth as his face contorts away from Rusty's fist. Both fighters hit the floor and remain motionless. Why? Yamura coughs, scratching at the floor and shakily lifting his head. Why will you not just die? Rusty stirs, his own body trembling as well. I am fighting for much more than you. There is too much riding on me for me to fail. Rusty, Amy screams, "Get up!" What are you doing? Being a cheerleader right now isn't helping anyone. You have to end this, the spirit of Danny says. He materializes beside Amy. Danny? Amy whispers in confusion. How are you here? Aren't you dead? I don't know, and we don't have time to worry about that now. The amulet containing Jake's spirit is in my shirt. While Yamura is in his weakened state, you have to transfer Jake's spirit back into his body. Yamura slowly stands up, staggering and nearly falling. Blood runs down his face, and his mouth hangs open as he struggles to breathe. He turns in Amy's direction and begins to move towards her. Rusty curses in a primal rage, trying to will himself to his feet. The teen posts his hands, but collapses back to his face. Damn it! Rusty screams. Don't you touch her! Yamura grins, his teeth stained red with blood. I will kill you, and then use your spirit to finish off Rusty. Amy dives for Danny's corpse and winces in horror, moving her hands around the large hole in her chest until she finds the amulet. She pulls back, her hands now covered in gore. The girl tries to ignore that, focusing only on what she can do to contribute to Yamura's defeat. With Danny dead and Rusty unable to stand, she may be the only person left to stop the Sakari from killing everyone else. You are not a magician. What do you hope to do with that? Yamura asks. Danny's spirit chants, causing a series of symbols to move into Amy's mind. The symbols rearrange and rotate, coming out of the girl's mouth as the incantation to seal Yamura. I do not know how you have come to possess this knowledge, but I cannot allow you to finish that spell. Yamura grabs Amy by the throat and begins to squeeze. 2 gunshots echo throughout the hallway. Yamura is knocked off his feet as the bullets punch through his back and shoulder. Blood swells out around him and he writhes in pain. The final seal acellar tattoo is released to heal his wounds. You have cost me everything that I have worked so hard for. Your deaths will be slow and excruciating. Lieutenant Hendricks and Detective Osteen stand their ground, having raided the sheriff's gun safe while Yamura was fighting Rusty. Don't shoot! We can still stop him without killing him, Amy screams. Please, no more killing! We're not taking him in alive. He's too dangerous, Lieutenant Hendricks says, aiming for Yamura's chest. Please don't, Rusty whispers, tugging at the officer's ankle. He murdered dozens of innocents. I can't take the chance of him getting away. Yamura turns to escape and cut his losses, but Detective Osteen shoots the ground in front of him. You're not going anywhere, the detective shouts. No more warning shots. The next one is going through your skull for what you did to Dwayne. Yamura shakes in indecision. Does he try to escape and hope that he can survive another gunshot? Or does he stay and take his chances against the imprisonment spell? Amy quickly finishes the incantation, guided by Danny's possession. The amulet glows brightly and becomes hot to the touch. Yamura backs away slowly, but a strong force begins to pull him towards the object. 2 blue spiritual arms reach out from the amulet, grabbing Yamura and pulling him into contact. A powerful release of energy explodes outwards, knocking everyone to the floor. I had it won! Yamura shouts as he finds himself in the recesses of Jake's mind. Jake stands face to face with the Sakari General once more. How has it all fallen to pieces? I did everything I was supposed to. I planned everything out. You are not supposed to be here. How do you keep coming back again and again? I won't let you have my body any longer, Jake's spirit shouts. The killing ends now. This is the end, Yamura. Jake rushes Yamura, hitting him relentlessly with pent-up anger in the form of his fists. Weakened from his battle with Rusty, he's unable to block and drops to his knees in defeat. You have won, But I will not fade away so easily, Yamura threatens. I am defeated, but not gone. I will survive this battle, and return even stronger. My revenge will come soon, human. With the last of his strength, Yamura smashes the amulet and destroys it completely. Now, I will be here with you for all eternity, waiting for you to slip, all the while rebuilding my strength. I will regain control, and when I do, all that you love will suffer. Yamura's spirit collapses as the last of his stamina is burned up, and he's forced into dormancy, causing his real body to revert back to Jake's appearance. Thank you, Jake says to the others, regaining control of his body. You're back? Amy asks, receiving a nod in response. Danny suddenly gasps for breath. The hole in her chest is healed, and she touches her torn shirt, searching for a wound that no longer exists. Danny? How are you alive? Jake asks. I saw you die. I even spoke with your ghost, Amy says. I can't explain it. I was alive, then Yamura hit me with that blast, and it all got dark. Then I felt like I was being smothered and then drowning, sinking deep into an abyss that I couldn't escape. After that I was a ghost, and then I woke up back in my body, Danny whispers, even more confused than they are about her miraculous revival. A fire axe begins to chop through the side door. You kids need to leave, Lieutenant Hendricks says, looking over at Amy and Rusty. Jake Stewart, you're under arrest for too many homicides for me to list right now. What are you doing? Did you not just see all this craziness? Jake didn't kill anyone, it was Yamura, Amy says. She's right. Jake didn't kill anyone, Rusty shouts. I'm not blind, kid. I saw him myself. Split personality or not, he's a dangerous murderer, and I can't let him get away. If you stand in my way, I'll arrest all of you as his accessories. LT, I don't know about all this. That guy wasn't human before. We shot him full of holes, and he used those weird tattoos painted on his body to heal himself. I know you saw it too. Maybe there's some things out there that we just can't write off as nonsense, Osteen says. Do you hear yourself? Do you really want to let this guy go free? He killed Rollins, the sheriff, and dozens of others. Maybe it wasn't really him. Maybe these kids are right and he was possessed by a demon. Then we'll assign him a priest once he's locked up in a federal maximum security penitentiary. Osteen pulls out his handcuffs and slowly approaches Jake as non-threateningly as possible. Sorry, kid. I'm sure you'll get a psychiatrist to help sort out things. Jake takes a deep breath and nods in defeat. Jake, what are you doing? You're innocent, Amy shouts. It's okay. This is for the best. If Yamura does regain control, I'll at least have the power to fight back now. Two shadows fall behind the detectives and slowly rise up in the forms of men. Duermas, a man in his mid to late 40s, whispers, putting his hands over the officers' faces. Osteen and Hendricks collapse into a deep sleep. They'll be unconscious for several hours, but that will not stop the others from trying to get in here. Grab our hands and we will lead you to safety. Jake tries to quickly size up their sudden visitors. The man who spoke seems noble, speaking slowly and clearly with a strong confidence. He wears the dark blue robe of a master magician. The other is no older than 19, tall with dark hair and dark eyes. He wears the green robe of an apprentice magician. Jake feels he can trust the older man for now, but something bothers him about the other. With no time to debate, he leads the others to grab their hands, and in an instant, they all materialize in the parking lot in front of Schaefer's dojo. Police tape blocks the entrance, and the building is nothing more than a skeleton after Yamura's battle with Danny and Elian. I am Master Juvet Diota, and this is my apprentice, Menel Karyane, the older man says, We represent the city of Endelgion. Endelgion? The hidden city where magicians are trained? Danny asks. Sensei mentioned the place a few times, but he always changed the subject quickly. Why did you just help us? Jake asks, suspicious of the men's motives. Elian Schaefer was once one of us. We considered his deeds our responsibility. He used magic to search for Yamura's vessel. Had we not taught him the principles of magic, none of these unfortunate events would have occurred. So you just teach anyone magic? Seems reckless, Jake whispers. Many who have a gift for magic do not also possess the mental fortitude or self-control to be able to master it. We tried to keep an eye on him after his expulsion, but we discovered too late that he had learned much more than he'd let us on to know. He vanished from our detection, and we were unable to find out what was going on here until he was killed and his spells broken, Manel adds. Now that you're here, can you remove Yamura and dispose of him? Amy asks. I am afraid that is beyond even our knowledge. I will look into our archives for a possible solution, but it may take some time, Deoda says. So if you can't get rid of Yamura and Elian is dead, why exactly are you here? Jake asks. There are still a few loose ends to attend to in this matter. As an apprentice who turned to black magic, any Elian Schaefer interacted with may have become corrupted by his teachings. We have come to offer young Daniela the opportunity to come back with us for proper training and the unlearning of Elian's ways. The firefighters finish breaking down the door to the police station and rush inside to drag the detectives to safety. Through the new hole, a bird speeds out into the sky, squawking loudly. Where did those kids go? Osteen asks, rubbing his head. A deep feeling of nausea and confusion remains at the forefront of his senses. No one else was inside but the two of you, one of the firefighters replies. Come on, we need to get you guys checked out for injuries. The teens, minus Jake, walk over to the waiting ambulances and are greeted by Gator and Mitch. Gator's entire abdomen and back are wrapped in bandages, and he can barely stand up. You pulled it off, Gator says with relief. I knew you could do it. Rusty nods. I couldn't do it alone, but somehow the four of us managed to take him down. 4? Mitch whispers. Jake helped. He's back in control, but I don't think he's going to stick around, though. He's going to get blamed for all the lives that Yamura stole, Rusty explains. Can you blame them? Gator asks. Most people don't believe in anything supernatural. What's easier for them to believe? A mass-murdering teenager or an ancient spirit that possessed his body and was defeated? Amy looks over at Danny, who is very quiet. What are you going to do now? Those magicians were powerful enough to heal my body when I should have been long dead. If Yamura really ever does regain control, I think that I need to have that same kind of power. So you're going to go with them? Study magic with them? Danny nods. I think it's for the best. There's really nothing left for me here. Like Jake, I'll only bring trouble to everyone around me. Don't try to do everything on your own. If you ever need our help, we'll be here, Rusty says, interrupting the girls' conversation. Danny is surprised. After everything I've done? I started this whole mess. You would still help me? Rusty smiles widely. You have to ask? I thought it was pretty clear that we're friends now. Without you, we'd all be dead. Jake is going to have the hardest time, Gator says. He's going to be hunted down by every police officer in the country. He'll find a way to survive. I think he's proven that much to us, Mitch says. Rusty nods. I have faith that Jake will find a way to do the right thing. He won't let Yamura take control again. I hope you're right, Gator whispers. I don't think any of us are prepared to deal with that monster again. Well, I'm gonna go back home. If you ever need the book, just give me a call. Oh, and Mitch, I promise I'll pay for the repairs to your truck, says Danny. Mitch shrugs. All things considered, I think we came out okay. Can't really complain about material stuff like my truck, when so many people died today. Rusty is silent, thinking about all the terrible things Yamura did. It isn't fair, he whispers in anger and sadness. Everyone will blame Jake for what Yamura did. Two of those cops saw the difference between Jake and Yamura. They must have their doubts, Amy argues. Gator shrugs. Who knows? Maybe they'll sort it out, but then what? No one will believe them, even if they know the truth. Any semblance of a normal life is over for Jake. He's going to be on the run for the rest of his life. Damn it, Rusty curses. Even being defeated, it still feels like Yamura won. In the form of a crow, Tor's Forgeron lands on a building overlooking the police station and reverts back to a human. I have been investigating my former student and his misadventures for some time now. I learned of his revival of Yamura and discovered his talented young protege. So how is it that Doyle was able to swoop in and steal my prize at the last moment? Where did Doyle learn about Danny, or what was even happening in town with Elian and Yamura? I've been very careful not to speak about my investigation to anyone else. Could he have spies? Forgeron looks around in paranoia. He notices a squirrel looking at him suspiciously. Are you one of Master Dioda's little spies? He causes the animal to explode violently with a spell. There can be no other way that Doyle learned about the Livingston girl or Yamura without having some kind of presence in this town. Could he have known of Elian's location before even me? How long has he been playing this game? I wonder if he has noticed my presence in this town. Damn him! This was my mess to clean up and save face. Now he will return to Endelgion, looking like the hero that foiled the rogue magician Elian Schaefer's evil plans for world domination. Then everyone will look at me and say it was my fault and how my incompetence led to all of this. I didn't screen my disciples well enough. I didn't teach them properly and turned Elian down the path to dark magic. I will remain under scrutiny, and my movement will become heavily monitored. My trips like this to the mortal realm will fade into memory. I won't be able to come and go as I please anymore. Damn him! That smug bastard Doyle! That old-blooded elitist piece of shit! Forgeron tries to calm himself, taking deep, shallow breaths. No matter. I will still have access to the girl. With her exposure to dark magic, I will be able to teach her things that Dioda's other students could never possibly handle. She will have so many questions. Her master will not be able to answer them. Then I will ensure that she will come to me, and I will guide her as the way I originally intended. Returning to his avian transmutation, Forgeron flies off into the sky. Rusty wakes up, finding himself back on his couch at home. What happened? How did I get home? Rusty whispers. It was all just a dream, Mitch says from the other couch. You imagined the whole thing. It was? Rusty whispers, confused. No, Amy growls, shoving Rusty's older brother. You passed out while the EMTs were checking out your injuries. I guess you were just running on fumes there at the end. So all that really happened? Yamura and everything? Amy nods. Yeah, it's over now. So Jake is still in control? Rusty asks. Yeah, but he doesn't seem too confident in how long it'll last. He's jumping on a bus to Florida this afternoon, Amy replies. What? When? At 2 p.m., says Amy. What time is it now? About noon. He told us all to stay here. He doesn't want anyone to come see him off. He's afraid his emotions might trigger Yamura to take over again. He's really struggling inside right now, says Amy, her voice choking up. I have to go talk to him, Rusty says. That's a bad idea. You're the one person he needs to stay away from the most. He doesn't have to do this alone. We have to support him, demon or not. We can't let him leave. He'll be all by himself, no family or friends. That's what he wants. He said the only way to protect us is to stay away from us, says Amy. I have to go talk to him, says Rusty, standing up from the couch. I'm not sure that's the best idea, Mitch says. Pretty sure everyone that acted as a catalyst to his meltdown should stay clear of him. The three of us are probably the three people he needs to interact with the least. If he really is leaving, I need to at least say goodbye. I would be throwing away all of our good memories forever if I just let him leave thinking that I hate him. We proved to Yamura and ourselves that our bonds make us stronger than anything else in this world. I want Jake to remember that as well. Mitch shrugs. Your call, little bro, but I'm staying right here. I'll be happy if I don't see or hear about Jake again for the rest of my life. Rusty is hurt by his brother's words, but he can still understand where he's coming from. It's difficult not to associate Jake with all the evil committed by Yamura. I'm going regardless. I better go home, says Amy. My parents are probably worried sick. I bet everything that happened to us is all over the news. I wouldn't let them know you were at the police station. Just tell them you were over here when it all happened. I'll call you tonight and tell you how things went with Jake, Rusty says. Be careful. And please don't say anything to upset Jake, Amy replies. He's going to be teetering on an awful thin line. If he snaps, Yamura will get free and none of us are ready to face him again. I will, and I won't upset him, Rusty promises. I just need to say some things to him face to face. I would never forgive myself if I never saw Jake again and never had the chance to talk to him one last time. Do you really think putting hundreds of miles between your emotions and their source will really do any good? Asks Yamura. It's a good place to start, says Jake, packing the last of his clothes into a green duffel bag. I will always be inside of you, just as you will always have your emotions. Together, we will torment you. I know. Someday, something will trigger your mental collapse, and I will be there to take control. With your body, I will make great slaughter of everyone you know and love. I'll hold it back until my last waking breath. Then when you sleep, I will take control. I'll find a way to stop you, even if I never sleep again. What will you do on your own? You will not survive. You are only but a child. You will have no home, no job, no friends, no money. You have nothing, and you will be nothing. I'll manage somehow. I always do. Optimism will not change the fact that things will only get darker for you from here on. Give it a rest, Yamura. I'm tired of hearing your voice. The truth hurts, does it not? It stings in your heart, because you know my words ring true. Shut up already. I will never be silent. My voice will make you question every decision you make for the rest of your pathetic life. It will cause you unending suffering. Maybe I'll just kill myself, rid the world of both of us. Yamura hesitates. You do not have the guts. You are as frightened of death as you are of me. I guess we'll find out together. Jake hears knocking at the door and goes to answer it. Hey, Jake, says Rusty. Kill him, Yamura urges. Jake says nothing, struggling with his emotions. I know a lot has happened, but you don't have to leave. We can work through this, Rusty says. No, I have to go. It's the only way I can make sure Yamura doesn't hurt any of you again. I screwed up big, and this is my chance to prevent the same thing from happening again. There were other circumstances then. The dojo that brought the demon to you is gone. Yamura killed them all. It's too dangerous. I can't risk anything triggering Yamura to take over my body. Jake stares at the floor in sadness. Besides, The authorities are going to be bringing down hellfire to find and arrest me after all we did at the police station. Do not give those sappy speeches, boy. You know what you really want to give him. The sweet release of death, Yamura urges. Take care of your folks, and my mother. I'm trusting you, Jake says. Rusty nods slowly. Jake, I want you to know that we don't hate you. You're still family. If you ever need me, I'll be there for you. You just have to ask. Jake smiles, fighting back his own tears. Treat Amy right. She deserves it. Jake, Rusty whispers. Don't. This isn't a goodbye forever. This is just a so long for now. Stop lying to yourself. You will never see any of them again. Not until you see their corpses at our feet. How are you going to make it? Rusty asks, wiping the tears from his eyes with his shirt sleeve. When Yamura had control and I was kicked out of my body, things seemed like they couldn't get any worse. But the whole time I knew I'd make it through somehow. That I'd get my body back and stop Yamura. I know I'll survive things to come all the same. Do you need anything? Money? I appreciate the offer, but I have to go this one solo. If I can't do this by myself, I'll have to depend on others to bail me out the rest of my life. Which will not be long. You shall be dead by the end of this week. Where are you going to go? Rusty asks. My mother's parents live down south. Florida always sounded like a nice place. A lot of old people, bugs, and humidity. But with all the half-naked chicks, it can't be all that bad. Besides, I might even be able to get back in touch with Radnovich, the guy who trained me over the summer. He might have an idea how to suppress or even get rid of Yamura's spirit. He was friends with a magician even stronger than Danny. It all seems like my best shot, really. Things won't be the same without you, Rusty admits. That's what I'm counting on, Jake says with a forced smile. He turns away, trying to hide his own tears, as he sees those of his younger cousin. We're really going to miss you. You've always been like a brother to me. Ditto, but you've got your actual brothers to look after you. Things are always darkest before the dawn, Rusty. You're going to see that things are going to get a lot brighter for you soon. You're going to do great things, I feel it. You're going to become a strong and righteous man. You'll protect your family, and even the people you don't know. How do you know that? Because I've already seen you do those things. Jake shoves several photo albums, a book of compact discs, his Walkman, several other small items into the satchel containing his clothing. Jake and Rusty walk out onto the porch. Someday we'll look back on this as the best thing that could have happened to us. So long, bro. Be strong. And always follow your heart. Jake leaves for the bus station. He takes one last breath and a look behind him before stepping onto the vehicle to his new life. He leans his head against the window, watching towns and wilderness stretch by as the bus heads down towards what will be his new home. An elderly woman with almost blue-looking hair turns around in front of Jake, noticing that he's young and traveling alone. Aren't you a little young to be traveling alone? The woman asks with genuine concern. It's safer when I'm alone. I'm like a human hurricane. Devastation and pain follow wherever I go, Jake somberly replies. Well, you're picking the right place to run away to then, she smiles back. Jake locks up, her response striking him odd. Florida's known for its hurricanes. You'll fit right in, she continues. Jake tries to return a smile, but despite her kindness, he knows how hard things are going to be for him, and he cannot find the passion for it. Flight 1115, Tel Aviv, Israel, to Florence, Italy. Where are you headed? A finely dressed man asks the woman seated beside him. I'm not quite sure yet, the woman replies with a courteous smile and a thick Middle Eastern accent. I know what I need to find, but I do not know where it can be found. You see, I'm a collector of sorts, she adds, resting her hand on a large leather-bound journal beside her. Maybe I can help you. I have several contacts that own large collections of many rare things. What is it that you collect? The olive-skinned woman's eyes flash red, and she leans in close to whisper in the man's ear. Right now, I'm collecting servants. Badare al controle. The man's eyes glaze over, and she smiles. When we land, you will help me gather what I need. Lior Nadav grins, leaning back in her seat to rest the remaining few hours of her flight. In her mind, several flashes of bright flames and her own pained screams cause her unease. She grips the armrests tightly, digging her nails into the plastic. I did not claw my way out of that abyss just to remain trapped for all eternity. While I was imprisoned, Yamura and Hui were also defeated by those damned humans. Much time has passed, and Yamura has been released. Hui will soon be released as well. If all my plans go according to script, it will not be long before I will be able to properly greet my old acquaintances. I have spent many a year planning for this reunion. I'm coming for you, brother, and I will make you pay for your betrayal. Inyana begins to laugh, but none of the other passengers look at her. All of their eyes share the same glazed trance. Each person on the flight is under the Sakari Queen's mind control. I hope you enjoyed your brief time at the top, Yamura. Soon I will reclaim my place as the rightful ruler of this world. Then you and all of the monkeys will bow down before me, or die.